Wow, what a great thrill. Okay, I was thinking about this today, Warren. I don't think I have seen you in 13 years. The
Holy
last,
cow.
seriously, the last Canadian Smooth Jazz Awards, that was 2011.
Also the best Canadian smooth jazz.
Well,
Uh,
they were always good when you were there.
was
Anyway,
it?
it is so great to have you here with us and welcome to Wave 98.3 because we are now in Vancouver, Vancouver's coolest vibe, and you're coming.
Yes, I'm looking forward to it so much. I mean, Vancouver's definitely one of my favorite, if not like, sorry, Toronto. Well, when you're born and raised, you always have it's just kind of a hit or miss because it's, you're born and raised there. But even when I was a kid, I always loved Vancouver because I love to ski.
Ah,
And so my father was a super cool dad. A couple of times he took us, maybe more than a couple of times, took us to Whistler
oh,
ski.
wow.
And I remember going to Vancouver, it'd be freezing in Toronto, and then you get off the plane and everything's green and it's like, what? They don't even have winter here? But then,
Yeah.
2 hours later, you're knee deep in snow at Whistler. I just loved how everything came together. I always loved the ocean and I love the mountains, and it was just a perfect setting for me. So I've always loved Vancouver. It's been a dear place in my heart.
And you're coming to White Rock March 23rd, two shows. I've been trying to explain to our listeners about you and your performing abilities and what it's like to watch a Warren Hill show. Because some people just stand there and play their instrument and they're good, but they just pretty much stand there and play their instrument. And that is not you. You are
Nope.
electric. You are on fire when you are on stage. So you, in your own words, describe a Warren Hill show.
Well, okay, so first we start with the puppet show. And then,
Yeah, yeah,
no, I mean, it it's interesting. A lot of the music that gets chosen to be played on the radio is my softer, more mellow, chill kind of stuff,
yeah.
you know. But that's not, of course, I do, some of those songs in the show. The show has a lot of peaks and valleys, but I think I start the show on 10 and I end the show on 11.
And
You
that's the
know,
truth. That is the truth.
it definitely, I like to come out with a bang, and I integrate some cover songs always into my show because there are people who come to the show and maybe know one song of mine,
Mhm.
and I like to throw in some familiarity. I love covering artists like unexpected, on the saxophone. Like I play some Beatles songs, or I play, I do play that funky music, White Boy, which is,
Ooh, yeah.
tongue in cheek. And I do Frankenstein, Edgar Winter Group. I started as a rocker when I was a kid. I was growing up in Toronto, it was mandatory to know Rush, of course.
Of
And
course.
but I was a Geddy Lee impersonator, not just because of the schnoz.
No, no, no.
Um,
You could maybe be his much younger brother.
I could sing and I could do all those notes and I sounded like him and I could play all the guitar, Alex Lifeson's guitar riffs and everything.
I love your voice. I love when you sing, and I
Thank you.
personally wish that you would sing more often. Will you be singing at the show at the Blue Frog Studios?
Well, I sing. There was a time when I actually was singing a few songs in the show, but I really got a new appreciation for singers and doing that because you can't, if you're sick, like my schedule would always be crazy. Like, you're up until 2 or 3 in the morning, and then you're getting up, you get 3 hours sleep, and you're getting on a flight to go to to get the next show. And so I would quickly just have that sort of funk, traveling gunk in my sinuses and whatnot. And it was just so hard to stay healthy enough to actually be able to sing properly.
Hmm.
Um, and so I said, because the thing about playing the sax is it doesn't. I've done a show with 104 fever,
Wow.
like having the full flu, and you can still do a show when you're playing the saxophone, you know. So I kind of subsided on singing. Now I just kind of do some simple stuff like maybe call and response and things like that with the audience. Nothing too acrobatic vocally.
Speaking
But I,
of simple, because
yeah,
that's your new hit song, which I absolutely adore. We
thank
play
you.
it on the wave, and I can't believe it's been 10 years since you gave us a new single. I just want to ask, what the heck have you been doing for 10 years? Like, seriously, Warren, where have you been? I mean, it's such a good song. I just have missed you. I've really missed hearing new stuff from you.
I think the biggest thing that I did was uh, I did put out one record in between there, but it was only out in Asia.
Oh,
And it was an all it was a cover record of all it's called Under the Influence, and it was all covers of classic rock songs on the saxophone.
that's crazy on two counts because I actually released a jazz album maybe 5 years ago where I paid tribute to what I called all the great jazz dames who influenced me. And it's called Under the Influence. That's what it's called.
Yeah, and after I put the record out, uh Keith Richards came out with a record also called Under the Influence. Now, of course, mine was never released. It was just a limited release over in particularly in Korea.
Wow.
Um, and because I it all stems from in 95, 98, something like that. Um, my Shelter CD, I did a cover of Hey Jude.
Uh-huh.
I think it was I think I opened the record with Roxanne or something like that.
Yeah.
And then I closed the record with Hey Jude. And Hey Jude became this cult, my version of it became this
Mhm.
cult video in with YouTube and whatnot in the maybe it started out in the aughts. I can't remember when YouTube started getting big, but uh time starts to compress, right? As we get older. It's like
Of
hard.
course.
Um, but what happened was this young Korean saxophonist, like 8 years old, he was in a talent competition and he did like note for note verbatim my version of Hey Jude. Um, and he gave me the honor of saying Warren Hill's version, like in the title of
Yeah.
the video. And the thing got like millions of views. Now these days, millions doesn't sound like anything, but back then that was a lot. And I mean, I couldn't even get millions of views on my own videos. And he got this, and then it became like this competition where other saxophonists around the world, particularly in Korea and China and all over there, but then it branched out to Brazil and then Russia and like all over the place where people were trying to outdo each other. Who can do the more perfect version of Warren Hill's Hey Jude cover?
Has it
And
happened? Has anyone outdone you?
I'm blown away by what they're able to do. They don't quite have the ending fade out solo stuff together quite yet, but they do a really good job. And the sound, like the tone, sometimes it sounds just like me, literally.
And
Uh,
I want to talk to you about that too, because
yeah.
that's another thing that I've mentioned. So a couple of years ago, I was visiting a friend who bought a house in the Caribbean, and
Oh,
I
too
was
bad.
cooking dinner. I know it was a hard read. I was cooking dinner, and she had her Apple iHome thing on, and I think she had just said play some smooth jazz, something like that. And so we're just talking and cooking, and not like it's background. And then all of a sudden, I stop and I think, that's Warren. That's Warren. I know it's Warren. And I don't know the song. It's not a song I'm familiar with, but I said to her, I said, that is Warren Hill. I know it is. You are probably, I shouldn't say this out loud. I'm going to say it anyway. You are probably the only sax player that I know after my 24 years of being with the wave that I know your sound. Like it's so you.
Uh,
What do you do that's so different than everyone else that makes it so you?
you know, it's fun. I don't want to get too technical, but you know what auto tune is,
Of
right?
course.
Everybody knows what auto tune. So every singer now, everybody uses auto tune. Even if they say they don't, the engineers in the background putting it on them. And I mean, even watching the Grammys yesterday, I can't remember. I'm not gonna even if I could remember who it was, but I remember one act that was performing on the Grammys. I'm like, they're actually on the Grammys. They're using the live auto tune app, which
Yeah.
is because it's like milliseconds now where it corrects your pitch. And singers now are just
Yeah.
they don't even know how to sing in tune anymore. It doesn't matter. But of course, the young pop fans and whatnot who follow these people, they don't care either. Nobody cares. If
Well,
you're lip
that's
syncing
they,
or you're auto
yeah,
tuning.
I know.
So point is, I digress. The point is that, of course, I never, in all my years of recording, I never used auto tune or any type of tuning application on my saxophone. But when in particular, it does save a lot of time, like time is money now. And so if you play a perfect lick, but it's, you couple notes were just, that's a little pitchy, you can just go in there and just fix the licks, right? It's not
Sure.
like you're recreating or doing anything more than that other than just to clean it up. But the thing is that the listeners are so used to now hearing everything in perfect pitch.
Yeah.
Like Whitney Houston's "I'll Always Love You" is just sharp. It's just slightly sharp, and that's what gives her that. When people sing sharp, it gives a little more edge to the sound. Steve Perry,
Yeah.
listen to "Don't Stop Believing" now.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
sounds like so out of tune,
Yeah.
but we didn't notice it back then. It sounded right. It was just the sound of his voice, and same thing. He's just got that sharp. So I play slightly sharp.
Wow.
I do, and I realized it more when I was tuning myself. I'm just like, oh, sharp, sharp, sharp. And then I'm tuning it down and I realize, oh wait, I'm losing that edginess. That sort of it's hard to describe. It's just kind of like it sounds like an effect or something, but it's
I know
literally me just playing it slightly sharp.
somebody in the music business many, many years ago said to me, the great female vocalists all sing sharp. And I thought that's crazy. That can't be true, But now that you say it, I understand.
And
Yeah.
vibrato.
Yeah.
So, singers obviously use vibrato, and the bigger the vibrato, usually like, opera singers too. It's like,
Yeah.
where is the center of the note? It's so hard to tell when they have this big, thick vibrato, but it's just the vibe, right? And
Yeah.
so with my horn too, it's like there's a little bit of sharpness and then a certain type of vibrato that I'll bring in and out, in the notes. And it all comes back from singing, because my sax became an extension of my voice from
Of
when I
your
was a kid.
voice.
And I
Yeah.
sang all these rock songs, Zeppelin and Rush and everything. And when I was kind of translating, of course, there was when I heard Sanborn, I have to mention David Sanborn, because it was his tone uh, and his sound on the saxophone that got me to actually quit guitar and move to saxophone.
Yeah.
It
Wow.
was when I heard him play, I said, if you can make a saxophone sound like that, I want to play sax way more. I was already playing just school concert band, but I wanted to make it more of my official instrument.
I
And
think the
it was
best
when I
singers
heard his.
are the best singers sing with their hearts on their sleeve. And I remember saying this to you backstage at the Smooth Jazz Awards, that you play with your heart on your sleeve. I mean, I know you've got the technique. I know you've got that all in spades, but that doesn't come out anymore. When you play, I think it's heart. It's all heart. And that comes out in the sound.
It is. It's a lot of, yeah. I think there's a lot of emotion. I put a lot of emotion into every note.
Right.
And it's funny too, because working with my daughter, with Olivia, she's not a good candidate for auto tuning either, because she's studied jazz and everything so much that she puts a lot of stuff into every note. Like she bends notes. I do that too. When you bend notes, that's like auto tune just shuts down, right?
Yeah.
And that's why so many of the auto tune, like, sorry Canadians, but Justin Bieber, he claims he doesn't auto tune. The guy is like, it's so obvious, but also they don't sing there's no vibrato.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just sounds like a machine, what's coming out. I mean, he's got a nice voice and all that, but it is of that. No vibrato, no bending the notes, just everything's just exact notes. And they put a lot of skipping around the notes. They do all that stuff,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
they're not really
It,
singing that, like the
yeah.
computer's doing it.
That is
So
not a
anyway,
vocal. It's not a
that's
vocal style that I like. Yeah.
long story short. I mean, long story longer. That has been I think that is what creates my signature sound. It's just those technical things that go on. But then, like you said, it feels to me what I'm trying to do really is just sing through the horn.
That's
You
amazing.
know,
Let's talk about Olivia, because she wrote Simple. She wails on Simple in the background. And I know there's a bit of a story behind how you got onto that song, because your wife told me the story, but I would love for you to share that story with us, how you got to be the star of Simple.
well, we were recording. I'm still writing songs, obviously. I take a lot longer to write a song than Olivia. Olivia sits down in 1 hour and does everything, start to finish, arrangement, vocal,
Wow.
lyrics, harmony, chords, everything, whether it's guitar, piano, she just like gets into that zone. I'll sit and like think about a bridge. I mean, I'll write the first part of a song one day, 3 months later, I have the second part of the song, a year later, I might have the bridge. I think maybe I'm just too distracted all the time. I
Yeah.
can't sit and finish stuff, but this song, we were in the studio recording Olivia's record, and this was one of the songs. And I think yeah, it might have been Tamara. And I'm not even sure why my horn was in the studio because we were working on her record, but it happened, it was there. And they just said, you should just try this on the horn right now. We
Right.
had just tracked it with the band,
Right.
and it kind of came to life, and it sounded amazing. And I think because it had probably one of my most famous songs I wrote was Our First Dance, which was our first dance at our wedding. And it had a similar feel to that. It's in 6/8 and like a waltz, and had the big, crescendos and everything in it. So I think Tamara might have been thinking of our song, and she was like, hey, you should pick up your horn and try this. And I was like, no, 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 I haven't practiced. I'm not ready. And they're like,
But maybe
too bad, tough cookies. Get
that's
on
where
there.
the
So I did, but I made everybody, the whole band was there. I made the band leave the room. So it was
oh well.
just
But
myself and Olivia, Tam.
but that's the
And
heart, right? The heart came out, but you didn't need to practice. You just did it. Yeah, and you hear it on that single. You hear the soul and the passion.
yeah, I mean, I knew the song so well because we were producing it for Olivia. And so even if I hadn't practiced, I just did one take, and it just like, wow. I mean, like what ended up on the single is probably 90% of that one take.
Yeah.
And then it was just going back in and like, okay, my reed squeaked there, and something happened there or whatever. I was tuning all this stuff, so you fix it up. But yeah, it was a one of those like in the moment sort of, oh my God. And then of course the band came back in, everyone was like, what, you gotta do that, you gotta release that. And I think it took a year to finally get it out. But yeah, it was a really unique moment.
So you've got your wife. You guys have been married now for how many years?
It's, you know what, next week, the Valentine's Day is our 30th anniversary.
Wow. Well,
Yeah,
happy anniversary in advance.
thank you.
And obviously your love affair with Tamara has really played a big role in your music making. You've written
Yeah.
songs that are absolutely breathtakingly beautiful to me. For her. Now you've got your daughter, Olivia, who goes by Olivia Rocks for our listeners who may not be aware, top 10 finalist on American Idol. She's got a booming career happening, great Christmas album out. What's it like being surrounded by your music in your family with your people all the time?
I mean, it's pretty great. I don't know, like, I think, I'm trying to remember because 30 years with Tam, I mean, 30 years marriage, but we were together almost 32. And then prior to that, I think I met her on my second record. And I had just gotten, I'd just been doing like maybe year and a half of, as Warren Hill, the artist, like touring and whatnot. My records were out. And it's like I don't know a life without a soulmate.
Oh,
You know,
wow.
really. Like as an adult, it was short. And I think I got out of college, I was just so uber focused on like getting a record deal and getting my artist career going and all that. There was just no time for anything. And in fact, when Tamara and I met, neither one of us were interested in a relationship at all. Like we were just both super focused on our careers and everything. And we met in the studio, happenstance, and just fell in love like right away. So it was kind of, I get, destiny, fate. But but since day one with her, we came together through music, and we stayed together through music. So when Olivia came along, we did not want her to be in music. It was the last thing we wanted for her, but our daily lives are just music, like from start to finish. So it was kind of like by osmosis. I mean, there was really no choice for her. You
Yeah.
know, we tried to make her, go into business, go into whatever, be a doctor, have an animal sanctuary, whatever. But she just kept, I mean, it was just obvious. I mean, she's writing songs when she was 4,
Right. Yeah.
and they're like,
Oh, we had her on stage at the Smooth Jazz Awards when she was 6, I think, or
yeah,
7. She was so precocious and so talented.
and it just kind of just kept developing and developing. And I don't know, I think maybe when she was about 8 or 9, we just said, okay, let's get better, let's get real teachers for her and whatnot, and kind of elevate what's going on other than just us, showing her music.
Mhm.
Let's get other people to show her music, and that really widened her sphere. And then it just got to a point where, it just, it got to a point where I'm just like, oh, okay, she's officially a better musician than I am.
Yeah.
It's like that realization, like, we're all, I'm schooled enough to know, like, okay, it's, you can't just, she'll come up with stuff and just chords and things. And when she's writing, I'm sitting in another room and I listen to her writing process, and I'm like, yeah, she's surpassed me,
But,
for sure.
and I think that's the best feeling. My son is the same thing. And I think it's the best feeling in the world as a parent to
Yeah.
watch the child that you would have preferred to be a doctor or a lawyer, but to realize that they've got the chops and the talent to be in this business at the highest level. And you're going, okay, that's great. I'm glad you're better than I am. So,
Yeah.
and I
Sorry,
think
sorry I
I-
ruined your life, Olivia.
yeah, but I think you have a great song title there, going back to your marriage. I've never known life without a soulmate. I think that's your next, maybe in time for Valentine's Day 2025. You could write that one.
Yeah, I should put that on a handwritten card, I guess.
That's right. Shh, I won't tell him.
Warren
Anyway,
Hills
so it's
Hallmark
so
edition.
great. So great to see you and talk to you and know that you're coming to White Rock on March 23rd for 2 shows, and that I'm sure you still got it, Warren, after all these years. I'm pretty sure you still got
Well,
it.
I know. Yeah, I wanted to say, yeah, because the time did pass, but what ended up happening was I was doing all my touring over there. Like pre-COVID,
Yeah.
in 2019, I played China 4 times,
Oh, wow.
1
Yeah.
year,
Yeah.
and then Korea. So I just got everything kind of shifted over there, and I wasn't doing much over here. But
Yeah.
I've been playing, of course, and
Of course.
still got it, of
I
course.
know you still got it. You can't have your kind of stuff. I don't even know what the word is, that your stuff is yours. It's so uniquely Warren Hill. And, I live in the land of sax, like, and have lived in that land for a very, very long time. And I still can't tell certain people, I wouldn't know, but I know, I always know you. And I think that's really special. I was
Thank
telling
you.
my son about you the other day, and I said, definitely top 5 sax players of all time. You're in
Oh,
there. Yeah,
well,
it's true.
this is recorded, right? So I can get a
Of
copy.
course, yeah, of course, it's all recorded. So we look forward to seeing you out in White Rock, March 23rd. Practice a little bit, okay, just before you come.
I will practice a lot.
And,
I trust. I promise.
And so great to see you and give my love to your family.
Thank you, Vickie. Great talking to you too. And you look great. I can't believe it's been 11 years.
Yeah,
Feels like,
and
doesn't feel like more than 5. I can
I
tell you
know
that.
exactly. And I think the music keeps us young. It certainly keeps us young at heart. And I know I'm just so glad that the wave is in Vancouver now, and we've got this whole new world opening up to artists like you and Dave Cause and Mindy Abair. I mean, just to the few of the sax people, and it's just really a wonderful thing. So thank you for coming, and I know you're going to put on 2 incredible shows. I just can't urge people enough to just get those tickets and get out to White Rock and see you March 20th.
Yeah. Look forward to
Okay.
seeing everybody. Thanks, Vickie.
Lots of love.
Take care. You
Bye.
too. Bye.
Bye.